New developments today in the shooting death of Trayvon Martin. A special prosecutor for the case says that a grand jury will not look into the Florida teen's death, but says that does not mean the charges won't be filed against George Zimmerman. Meanwhile, there is stunning audio of new Black Panther Party leaders advocating violence in response to Trayvon's death. Listen to this.
You're on there with Black Power Radio. I'm Sean Hannity. Give me your question or comment, Black Power.
Black Power, Brother Sean. This is Sister Michelle, Chief of Staff for Tampa, St. Petersburg, chapter of the Black Panther Party. Black Power. I just want to say to all the listeners that's on this phone call, if you are having any doubts about getting suited, booted, and armed up for this race war that we in that has never ended, let me tell you something. The things that's about to happen to these honkies, these crackers, these pigs, these pink people, these purple people, it has been long overdue. If you scared, you better give your soul to God right now and get your fight for your family and fight for what you know. This is an all-in race war that has been launched against the black race that has been going on since they brought our ancestors over on them planks that they laid in on them slave ships. So just know that this fight has never ended against us. The only thing that these honkies have done was tolerate us.
Yeah, but what she said was right. We got to suit up and boot up. We got to suit up and boot up and get prepared for the war that we're in.
All right, joining me with reaction, Sirius XM Patriot radio host David Webb and the author of the best-selling book Blacklash, Fox News contributor Deneen Borelli. Thank you both for being with us. Well, you listen to this, and we have more that we're going to play. But, you know, what are we to make of this? Arm up, race war, get suited, booted, arm for this race war. They go on to this, honky, crackers, pigs. Long overdue, an all-out race war has been launched, et cetera, et cetera. What are we to make of this?
Now, this is absolutely outrageous, the way they are inciting this situation, Sean. They are getting away with this hate speech and inciting violence. But you know what? There are race-based concerns with President Obama, Eric Holder, and their involvement with the Black Panther movement. And there's a pattern here. 2007, Obama spoke with the Black Panthers while he was running for election.
There's a picture of that, by the way.
Yes, there's a photo.
With Malik Zulu Shabazz.
That's right. And then in 2008, the Department of Justice did not fully press charges against the ones who were intimidating voters in Philadelphia. They got off on that, too. Here's the question, though, David. There's a bounty out on George Zimmerman's head.
Right.
So he's in hiding. And I actually spoke to him today. I'm not on the record, so I won't talk about the nature of the conversation. But there's a bounty on his head. How in this country, when you hear this talk of a race war, bounties on people's heads, why aren't people arrested? Where is Eric Holder?
Well, they're absent, as they were in the intimidation case in Philadelphia. And look, the new Black Panther Party, whose motto is freedom and death. Let's take them for what they are. Let's not get in their argument about race. That's part of the issue. But the FBI says terrorism is the unlawful use of force and violence against any persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment in furtherance of a political or social objective. They are domestic terrorists, and I talked about this Saturday on my show. Wayne Simmons, who has been investigating them, has helped me do this all along. Great story on Homeland Security today. It lays them out, and I want people to read it. Look at them for what they are, domestic terrorists, working with groups like Hezbollah, working with others. Homeland Security has issued memos. DOJ, this is serious stuff.
Yeah, we're dealing with a real threat. And by the way, that also means apparently there was reports that Nazi groups are going down there, although the Sanford police denied it. Same thing with them.
But there's a reason. There's a big reason for this, and this is Holder's failure, his lack of action, Sean. When he didn't do anything about them, which the DOJ should have done, he opened the door for every idiot group to go down there, and these are dangerous idiots.
This is dangerous for every citizen now. All right, let me play back to back here. This is where they say that blood has to be spilled, and then they talk about what the, quote, devil society looks like. Listen to this tape.
It's got to reach a climax. It's got to reach it's got to reach a point to where it boils over, like when you have a boil on your arm or your leg. In order for it to heal, this stuff got to boil over. And all your greats talked about there having to be bloodshed involved with revolution. True revolution means some bloodshed. So there's blood being spilled. We're going to have to cross the Red Sea. You're going to have to cross the Red Sea. I know y'all thought it was talking about some sea in some Middle Eastern part of the world. Hell no. We're talking about some blood. There are those who wish they could stand in this hour to see the destruction of the devil's world and the devil's society. And I ain't talking about no dude underneath the ground with a pitchfork and pantyhose. I'm talking about that blonde-haired, blue-eyed, sometimes brown-eyed Caucasian walking around with a mindset, a demonistic mindset, and the nature to do evil and brutality.
Bloodshed, Red Sea of blood, the white Caucasian, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, sometimes brown-eyed Caucasian walking around with a demonic mindset. This is all insanity, and I just want to know where the police are. Where's Eric Holder?
You're absolutely right, and I write about this in my book, Blacklash. Listen, this is color-coded justice, the way I'm looking at it. I call the Department of Justice today is the Department of Joke, because they are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They are selectively going after who they think, and it's all political. It is all political, because President Obama cannot run on his record, and so what we're witnessing now is the race relations being ginned up in our country, and it's a very dangerous game to play.
All right, let me get one more thing in, and I'll give you the last word here. And this is actually a Black Panther by the game of Nikolai Muhammad. Listen to this last comment.
Here's a case where a young man walking down the sidewalk on a telephone does not appear to be a threat to anyone. And all of a sudden, here come old no good, wicked white Jew. I gotta say this.
That's right.
They want to talk about his daddy being a Jew. His daddy is a liar. He's a criminal. He got on national TV and he said, my son didn't do anything. He was attacked. How could you attack someone with a phone in your hand talking?
Here's my question. There is, throughout all of these tapes, racism and anti-Semitism. Where is this coming from?
It's coming from a place that hates America for what it is, that hates anyone who's not like them. That's why I say we've got to deal with them for what they are. Domestic terrorists, yes, this is hate. Their narrative is race and hate to divide us. This administration wants to coalesce the black vote around Obama. They fear that people might make judgments for themselves. And the race hustlers that we've talked about and the narrative is all to drive this. First of all, any rational American looks at him. The facts aren't out. Zimmerman's not a white Jew. He's not a white Hispanic. He's an American. He's human. And the due process should be allowed to play out. But, Sean, you and I and others have warned, especially in conservative talk, that this would lead to a ginning up. And I'm going to say this. I want this to actually get louder. Because I want Americans, not more violent, I want it to get louder in the narrative around our country so we can see these people for who they are, because we need to repudiate them, because they won't.
If there aren't arrests made for people who are making bounties, that's scary. What I hear here is coming real violence against innocent people.
Yeah.
And
that's a significant cultural danger.
That's frightening.
You know what else is very concerning? Kids are watching and listening to this as well.
That's a good point.
The legacy of hate. That's what I call it with this. It comes down.
All right, guys, thank you both for being with us. Appreciate it. And coming up.